Welcome to Mind Over Matter, where we feature young Jamaicans who are shooting for the stars. I'm your host, Margaret Boyne. And remember, if you haven't subscribed to the channel as yet, please do and hit the notification bell. Most of us wouldn't call rocks exciting, but for my guest today, rocks are fascinating as they hold clues to our planet's past and future. My guest is a young geologist whose curiosity knows no bound. She hails from the parish of Westmoreland and is a past student of Mannings High School. We delve into the world of expedition geology. My guest is Shenee Douglas. Welcome to Mind Over Matter, Shenee.
Thank you, Miss Boyne. Thank you for having me. How are
Yeah,
you?
man. I'm looking forward to talking to you. You're my first geologist.
Okay.
Yes. Tell me a little about the field of geology and what does a geologist do?
Okay. So we just can start by defining the term geology. And what geology is basically the study of rocks and minerals and like the composition of the earth and like the structures that affect it. Right. So geology is basically like a broad heading and like it has different subcategories under it. So you have like environmental geology, you have hydrogeology, you have petroleum geology, that's the people who do it oil and gas, and then you have all other different type of compartments within the field. But the type of geology that I do is exploration geology, which is
Mm.
basically me going out into the field and getting involved in the search for rocks and minerals that, deposits that will become of economic benefit. So
Mm.
we're looking for metallic ores. Some people may be looking for gems and other industrial grade material, construction materials like what we have here in Jamaica, like the limestone and the aggregates, and any other mineable commodities that we may have laying around on the earth,
Mm.
right? And some people normally confuse like exploration geology with mineral geology. Sorry, not mineral geology, mining.
Mining,
Yeah,
yes. Hmm.
exploration with mining, which mining is kind of different because you need exploration before we can actually get to mining, because mining is the
Okay.
extraction of those
Mhm.
mineral deposits from the earth for economic benefits. So
Mhm.
that's a little info there.
Right. So exploration, you have to find it before you can mine it.
Yeah,
Mine it.
it's the
Mhm.
precursor to mining. That's what
Right.
exploration is.
Hmm.
But exploration is probably a bit more difficult because sometimes you're trying to find like a needle in a big haystack. So people like me and like my colleagues, so we go out and you use like different exploration methods. So you have like it's the drones that you can attach to helicopters to do like airborne surveys. Then you have me on the ground doing like ground mapping, and then you have drills which we go into the ground and we take out core to analyze those samples. Then we do like trenches, which excavate like geological structures so you can further examine those.
Mhm.
And after we do that and we analyze the data, we interrogate it, and then we come to whatever conclusion it is. Sometimes those deposits may be appraised, or you can choose to carry out more exploration, or it could be the end of the project. So
Mhm.
there's different things that goes into it. A lot of technical stuff.
Mhm. But how did this decide or determine where to look, where to explore?
Oh, okay. So as I mentioned before, you do a lot of like geophysical data analysis. So like for example, you have like magnetic survey, you have chargeability
Mhm.
surveys,
Mhm.
um, polarity, and those give you like different ideas as to where the target might be because different
Mhm.
minerals will give you like different colors on the results. So you can know where to look. And people like us now, we go out and then we look at the rocks, and if there's something there, like for me that look for copper, these may present on surface in different, the most visible is like different colors, like it may be
Mhm.
blue, it may be green, and other stuff. And I actually have a rock here for you. I don't know if you can
Okay.
see this right.
Yes,
Let me,
man.
it's just better on a white background.
Oh, yes. I
Yeah,
can see the different colors.
yeah. You have stuff like that. And there's a
Mhm.
shiny metal there that's called pyrite. Can you see that at the end here? There
Mm-hmm.
it is, right? So this is like
Okay.
what people normally think of it as fool's gold, yeah, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not gold. And then here's another one that you can look at. This is more vibrant.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
man,
these are
that
the
is
stuff
great.
that we see on surface many times. Okay. Yeah, this is actually a
Mm-hmm.
big part. So this is like
Mm-hmm.
so these are just like some of the stuff that we see every day, and these gives us like an indication of like where to go and like what to do next.
Mm-hmm. And we look at these rocks and just ignore them and pass them. Couldn't care
Yeah, you
less.
might pass it and say, yes, this is pretty.
Yes.
Yeah, but you don't know, you never know.
Yeah. This interest though, when did it start? You always wanted to do geology?
No, I didn't always want to do geology. When I was going to Mannings, like you had to do like a lot of subjects in order to like narrow down on the field that you wanted to go into.
Mm,
And I did some CXC before time. I started doing CXC in the ninth grade. And it so happened that I loved IT, and I wanted to be like a software engineer. And then another time I wanted to be a chef. And because I had done those subjects before, I was like, oh, I can't choose it to do now in fourth and fifth form. So I ended up doing geography. And then I fell in love with geography. And
Oh.
one day, I don't remember if it was careers day, but the people from the mines and geology department, they came to
Mm-hmm.
school and they presented everything. And like I was like, oh, these rocks are so pretty. And I answered some question, and I got this little certificate or this little souvenir, and it like had all the different rocks of Jamaica on
Mm-hmm.
it. And I was like, yep, this is
This
what I
is
want
it.
to do. This is it.
So,
That's how the love came about. And
mm,
no, when I went to UA, I did geology, and it was just a small group of us. It's
mm,
not a lot. And then that was in first year, and then COVID came. And if you know anything about geology, it's not a subject that you can do online. It's a very much
right, yes.
practical
Mm-hmm.
subject. So it became extremely difficult to try to finish my degree during COVID because it was 2 years online. I was like, how am I going to do this? Because you need field trips, you need experience,
Mm-hmm.
you need guidance from your professors, you need to go out and learn how to do all these skills that are not readily taught online. So it was quite difficult. Some of my batchmates made it. COVID was hard on everybody, but somehow
Right.
I prevailed, and I made it through at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I graduated, I applied to so many places. And I think people underestimate that time from when you graduate to when you get a job. That period that you take hunting for a job is extremely difficult, and it's
No,
extremely hard. And then
but you mentioned hunting for a job before you reach university. Were your parents supportive, or did they think that boy, we're going to get job when you finish with that?
yes, that's a question that that ask me a lot of times. Like, why geology? I've never heard of this, What you have to do?
Yeah.
So I say, Mommy, me I go work out when I bauxite company then, or me I go work at cement factory, or me I go, do the water something,
Mhm.
water resource authority. Probably go to an next island and study volcanology, something like that. That was my
Mhm.
idea, but the plan was to go to like a cement factory or do the limestone
Mhm.
thing. And
So,
ah,
go
continue,
ahead.
sorry. No, I was going to say then I started teaching geography.
Mm,
Um, I teaching geography for about 4 months at the St. Elizabeth Technical High School, and
okay.
that was in itself just a great experience. And I hope I made at least one person there wanted to study geology because all my classes were fun. I made sure to have them outside,
Mm,
yeah, so I can show them or give them let them
yes.
experience my love for the subject as well.
Geology, it's a male dominated field.
Oh yes,
So, were you the only female in your batch, or you had other females as well?
there were there are other females there, but maybe about 10.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot. All the others were male, and then when COVID hit, and then they started dropping out, you have like a class of 10 people, and maybe two were male, or you have like a class of 15 people, and I was the only female in the class. It's like that. And even now at work, there are only
Mm-hmm.
three female
Three
geologists here.
females.
Again, all the others are male. So it's a very male-dominated field, and it's very hard.
Mm-hmm. So you're an exploration geologist, which means that
Yeah.
you go a lot in the field.
Oh, every
So
day. So probably 90% of my job is outside
right.
in the field.
So what you're an adventurous person
I
out there?
find myself to be a very inquisitive
Mm-hmm.
person by nature, and I'm also kind of an introvert. So, and I like the
Oh.
outdoors, and I like nature. So me and geology just became more of a fit together because
Mm-hmm.
it's just you and your small team going out and gathering all of that information.
You presently work at an exploration company. So tell me
Yes.
what you do. What do you do there?
Okay. So company that I work for is C3 Metals, which is one of two exploration companies on the island. The other is geophysics. So what we do here, or what I do rather, is on a typical day, depending on which phase the program is in. For example, if I'm field mapping, I have my hammer, I have my hard pen, I have my acid, and I gather all the stuff that I need, and then I go out in the field with my notebook, and
Mm-hmm.
then we normally plan a traverse from before based on the information that we get, and we say, okay, we're going to look at this area today, and then we go out. Could be a river course, it could be a ridge line, it could be going into the valley, or it could be us making a plan and then doing that track. And sometimes what you find out is that the plan that you make inside, sitting at the computer, right? And you go into Google Earth and you look at the terrain and you say, yes, man, this easy. And then when you go outside and you reach up there, you say, boy, how am I gonna make it done? And it's very physically taxing, very physically taxing. So if you're not fit,
Yeah, you have a lot of climbing and
yeah, a lot of
walking.
climbing, you need a lot of upper body strength,
Yes.
a lot of stamina, a lot of endurance. And you have to be quick on your feet, you have to walk light. And not to mention when you go out in the field, you have to, be aware because there are many dangers there.
Tell me a little about that, man. When you're out there in the field and boy, you buck up on some animals. I don't know, you buck up on snakes and all
Yes.
those things.
Oh yes, 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 yes. Oh God, I've only seen it. I've only seen it once. I've seen some. I've seen some in water before in the river, but that one was dead. But there's, those duck ants nests you
Mhm.
normally see in trees. Those
Mhm.
tend to be like a little habitat for the snakes. But sometimes if I don't poke it. But if you poke it, probably like a snake will come out. So I've seen snakes. A lot of people might not have seen Droncos like close, but I've seen them, eye level. Very, I don't want to say very unique looking creatures, right?
Mm.
And then, you have people who have like their cow pastures, they have their goats, and I've been run down by a cow twice.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. And you can know when you can know when they're ready to run off, because they have like the local people, so like they sit, so like the tail goes up into the back, and you say, okay, your turn now to leave. Yeah, and then I've been to Saint Thomas.
Mhm.
We have a project area down in there, and we're going to like mapping. So different parishes probably have like different type of dangers that you need to be aware of. Like if you're going to St. Thomas now, for instance, like you can't go into the bushes like without a dog, because you have wild hogs there. You can, like, if you're walking, like you can see the fresh footprints and stuff. So okay, that's not an area that you want to go to, right? You want to
Mhm.
avoid that because you don't want anything bad to happen to you. Then you have like the pests, a lot of mosquitoes. I mean, these mosquitoes haven't seen people in ages. So, when they see, they're very excited. And then a lot of ticks, and I have a lot of grass lice, which are such a nuisance sometimes. So you have to walk with a lot of bug spray. So those are mainly the stuff that I see on a regular basis.
Yeah, Lord. So it's best then to have another partner.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
It's me and probably some local guys, and they have
Mhm.
the machete, they have the spray, and we have our sample bags and other equipment that we use to do our sample taking procedures. Yeah, so you
Mhm.
never by yourself, and it's not recommended that you go by yourself either.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're out in nature and a lot of solitude.
No,
Um,
yes, it's a serene environment, I would say.
Yes. Does it help you then to have a deeper connection with the environment?
If you're a person who respects the environment and
Mhm.
has a understanding of like all the benefits that environment could provide, then yes, I feel like this would be the job for you.
Mhm.
As you know, there are people who would, object to the whole exploration and the whole
Mhm.
mining thing because of the environmental, the high risk environmental impact. But from my experience that I've gathered from exploration geology is that it has low environmental risk. So
Mhm.
in the sense that it doesn't leave such a harmful impact on the environment. So to me it's a sustainable endeavor. And I know
Mhm.
people would argue that, oh, um mining is not
Yes.
sustainable, there's
Mhm.
exploration, but I could argue I could argue that nothing is really ever
Mhm.
sustainable in the sense that nothing is 100% sustainable. So if exploration or mining can be like 80% sustainable or
Mhm.
90% sustainable, then I'll
Yes.
take it.
Mhm.
So even, for example, even the renewable energy technologies that people use, the electric vehicles, the solar panels, and the wind turbine, like if you should ask them what is used to make these things, some people may know and some people may not know. It's copper, it's
Mhm.
lithium, it's
Mhm.
manganese. And how are you going to get these raw materials
Yes.
to build these renewable energy technologies? You have to mine them, right? So
And
there's no way out of it. The
mhm.
cost that you use to cook, the phone that you have in your hand, the
Yeah.
laptop, right? The things, the raw material that you need to make this all come from mining, right?
Mhm.
Even in the medical industry, the CAT scans, I mean, your defibrillators and other stuff, the steel, the titanium steel that you're using surgery, the equipment, all those things come
Mhm.
from mining. And there are low impact mining, that new technologies that are coming into play now are reducing the environmental footprint or the negative environmental footprint of mining and exploration. So I've seen where the industry had made great strides in trying to reduce that by
Mhm.
going also using like solar panels and like wind turbine and hydroelectricity to power their mining activities.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think we've come a very long way, a very long
Mhm.
way in terms of sustainable mining and exploration.
You ever had any exciting discovery since you've been working?
Exciting discovery. Well, I wouldn't per se say it's exciting, but I feel like we're inching towards that. And
Oh.
I've seen I've seen where we've made strides. The company has
Mhm.
made strides and build upon like previous discoveries that previous
Mhm.
companies had made in the island.
Mhm.
And I've seen where news outlets have like posted, oh, we found like Sea Metal has found gold and this and that they
Oh.
find, and yeah, where it's kind of misleading because it's not
Yes.
it's not accurate in a sense, right? We didn't find any gold, as not what people would like to think. But I feel like we're doing a great job
Mhm.
so far, yeah.
So what would happen if you actually find gold?
It depends on the company, right? So as I
Mhm.
was saying before, in exploration, so when we find a deposit, right? For
Mhm.
us, we look for copper mostly. So when we find a deposit and they do their appraisal, then it's up to the company to decide what they want to do from there. If they want to appraise, if they want to do more exploration, or if they want to end the project and
Mhm.
like, sell it off, and probably a next mining company will come in and do that whole mining part of it. So they
Mhm.
will work in conjunction now with the government to see how best of an economic benefit that could be. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I
Yeah.
think that's what normally happens after.
Mhm. So the government would get a part of it too.
I would think so. Yeah, they're probably.
Yes, I would think so too.
Yeah, I think the country would benefit greatly from it. Yeah.
All right. Looking at these rocks though, Shenee, do you feel
Mhm.
a sense of awe sometimes when look at these rocks that hold stories, like they would say for
Oh,
millions of years.
to me, some people might, for example, some people might the one of the previous ones that I've showed here recently.
Mhm.
Some people might look at it and say, "Oh, there's nothing special about it. It's just a irregular rock stone." But when I look at it, I could tell that, oh, this rock has probably been rolled around in like in a transport system for probably 100 million years or something. I could tell that it has been, milled over time. Every rock has a different story. So it's like when you're a geologist, it's like you're doing an investigation, right? And every rock is like a piece of the puzzle, and every piece that you find tells a different story. And then you have to have a good imagination when you're in geology, because you need to come up with a plausible excuse as to why this happened, why is this there? How did it get there? And you need to answer all the whys in trying to figure out what it is. So if it's not something that you're into, then I don't think it's it's right for you. Yeah, but every rock tells a piece of story about the Earth's history, and I think that is what I find interesting. So even if I don't see anything interesting, and you look at the rock under a microscope and then you see the different minerals, you know
Mhm.
that some minerals only farm in certain environments, some minerals only farm at a certain temperature and pressure. So that now can give you an idea to where this rock was, right? And the environment in which it was, right? For example, limestone farms, underwater. So you know that Jamaica was like a volcanic
Was
island. So you know that
right.
some million years ago it was underwater,
Mhm, mhm.
right? So these are the little clues that the rocks and the minerals can give you into the geological history of something. And I
Yeah.
think that's very interesting.
I think so too. But I probably sorry I didn't discover this earlier. I was in school. Anyway, this is a fun question though. So if you had to lead an expedition to
Oh.
anywhere on Earth, where would it be and why?
Ooh, that's a that's a good question. You know, I always liked Iceland because
Mm,
they're always having like a volcanic eruption, and I think that's probably where you can get like a fresh look like into what's going on into the earth. And I think
mhm,
that's a great place to start. I think that's
mhm,
as close as you're going to get to the earth into explaining, why
mhm,
is it that we see what we see, why is it that we were made this way and all of that. So I think that's where I would start.
So tell me a little about where you're from, Grange Hill in
Oh,
Westmoreland.
so I'm a little country bumpkin, nothing special. I grew up in Grangeville, Westmoreland, and despite what's on the news recently about all this gang violence and all
Mhm,
like the mass
mhm,
shooting, it's probably not an accurate representation of what the community is like and are growing up there, because it's always just a small group, and that one bad apple
mhm,
spoils the bunch. But I grew up, it's also a country area, it's also bush. So I think that that's also where my love started.
mhm,
But it's a good environment, it's something that can either make you or something that can break you. Because if you don't know what you're about, if you don't have your priorities in order, and you don't know what you're doing, I think you can be easily led astray by outside influences. So
mhm,
if you're not an individual that can come into your own, have your own motivation, if you're not disciplined enough, then maybe you could end up in the wrong company. And
mhm,
I think youths nowadays underestimate how important it is to like have a sense of self-actualization, coming into your own, finding what you like, what you don't like, putting your foot down. These are all the things. So overcoming like your socioeconomic background, different influences and peer pressure to make it where I'm now is a testament in its own for
mhm,
itself. Yeah.
mhm. And how were you able to do that?
Well, first and foremost, after that, God, because
Mhm,
without Him, nothing is possible. And then I also have a good family foundation. I have my grandmother, I have my mother, and I have my aunt to thank for that. And the family that I grew up with, for
mhm.
always keeping me in line, keeping me in
Yes.
check, that, like, girl, this is what you want. You have to work hard for it. You really, really have to work hard for it. There's no cheat code.
Shortcut.
It's just,
Mhm,
yeah, there's no shortcut. And people always say, education is the key, which is true. It's very important. Education is the key. But sometimes, to me, what that means is that education doesn't necessarily mean going to university. For example, my path was going to university to study geology. Somebody else might be, they might be more artistic, right? They could be a drawer, they could be a musician, an artist, or something. So, in
Yes.
terms of education is the key, it just means that nobody should be better than you at what you do, right? Nobody should be coming to tell you more about this particular field than you, right? You should educate yourself and make sure you know what is what. So when people come to you and you're explaining something or you're in your field, you know everything that is to know about what you are passionate about. So when they say education is a key, I think that's what it means to me. Yeah.
Very good, man. But Shenee, you're out in the field, tired after them long hours there, walk up and down or climb uphill. What do you do for fun? I mean, are you
Oh,
just too
what I
tired
do
to
for
do
fun
anything?
here? I go to the beach and we go out and we have like our barbecues and we have like our socials. So it's not all work and all work and no play. So
Okay.
there's much more to do.
So you have a balance then.
Yeah, there's a
Right.
balance.
What advice would you give to young persons who might be interested in geology?
Oh, so I think if you want to be in geology, I feel like the first thing is to curate that passion that you have for geology. And then the
Mm,
next thing that you need to do is go out into the field at least once. Because let me
mm,
tell you, and say you like geology, but you have not been into the field, then that's when you know if geology is for you, if
mm.
it's not for you.
Yes.
Because for me, I'm so happy that I had the foundation and the start that I have in my career now, working for this company, being surrounded by industrial giants that have like 20 plus years in the field. And there's not a gatekeeping culture here. So like everybody
Mm,
is just willing to train and they're willing to teach you everything that there is. Right. So after that now, once you curate that passion that you have for it, and then you need to be
mm,
extremely disciplined because nothing in geology is concrete.
mm.
Today you might read something in a textbook and then tomorrow somebody might publish something else contradicting that, right? So you need to keep up
Okay.
to date, you need to
Keep
know
up to
exactly what
date.
you're doing, and yeah. And then thirdly, you need to have your own motivation.
Mm,
Yeah, that motivation may come from inwards within you, or that may come from somewhere else, right? But I
mm,
think it's important for you to curate the curiosity that you have for geology, get the motivation, and then you need to do the hard work.
mm,
I think that's a good formula to have.
mm. Very good. Shanae, it was great having you. I really enjoyed this discussion. I don't know. I find out about this thing too late. I don't know. Is there any hope
It's
for
never
me?
too late. It's never too late.
Okay. I just want to wish you all the best, and I hope you'll be able to go on some expeditions outside of Jamaica.
Yeah, I think that's
I'd
the
be
future for me.
interested. Yes,
Yeah.
I'd be interesting. I'm interested to hear about those, man.
Okay.
And so all the best.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.